My people, it's about that time.
Like a boss.
Live from USA, hoping you get paid every day. This is the boss of Bitcoin, the Cristo of crypto. It's your boy BK. And if you don't like me, you must not like money. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Today we are doing a live Bitcoin price update, BTC to the USD. Most importantly, showing you what's going on in the chart, how these political affairs are affecting the outcome of the market, and most importantly, how you can profit from the greatest transformation of wealth in the history of humanity. So if this is your first time tuning in, congratulations, baby. You are now rocking with the best. My name is BK, also known as the Crypto Trader, and I'm the boss of these charts, as you'll soon find out. Every day I grace this microphone with my voice is another day you get to profit as a result, and today is no exception. So if you haven't done it already, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. I try to make a video as often as possible. My goal is to help as many people make as much money as possible, and this is one of the ways we do it. We give away free Bitcoin, FREE, BTC, every single Friday. And because I was traveling last week, I wasn't able to do a video, and so now we are about to jump in the comments for the videos that we did this week and pick out two winners, one for this week and one for last week. So let's bring up the videos. I believe we did 3. We got XRP, we got 40K, and we got Bitcoin price update. So what I'm gonna do is XRP gets number 1 and 2, 40K gets 3 and 4, and this yellow one gets 5 and 6. So we'll do a dice roll. So we'll roll the dice twice, and that'll tell us what 2 videos we're picking, and then we'll do the random comment generator to select the winner. And this is actually spinning pretty fast, but I think OBS chops up the frame, so I can't really tell what's going to be picked. But here we go. So 5, that is Bitcoin price update, this one. So that'll be one of them. And then 2, and that's the first one. I think that's XRP, right? All right, it's cool. So let's go first with Bitcoin price update. Let's open this, and I need to grab the short code here. Copy that. Go up here, load up the comments. 40 comments. Here we go. That's not going to work. That's a bot. Web3 Infinity. So we'll just respin it. If it's a bot, I'm not going to pick a bot as the winner. That kind of sucks. Pick another one. That's not a bot. Yeah? Okay. Ay, ay, ay. This is why I didn't. Try it again. Can I filter out Web3? I guess not. That's crazy, guy. Like, I'm just gonna have to go on and give it to the first real comment I see. I don't even think that's a real one. Like, this is why I say to shout your city out, because it's like, at least we have something to go on. Yeah. Alright, so let's just go. What the like, all of these comments. Thanks for the bid, VK. This is our winner. Like, this is the first guy I saw. I'm sorry. I tried. You saw it. It all, like, they didn't even give me any of these guys, which is crazy. Where were all the Web3 bots coming from? Like, what even allowed them to select all those Web3 bots? Let's try it one more time, because that's crazy. That doesn't even make sense. Let's do this. Ay, ay, ay. Let's go to this one, this one. Yeah, see, it's still ringing up 40 comments, which it most certainly is not 40 comments. And it's just picking the bots. All right, so this is our winner for the first one. Big Nathan, thanks for the vid, BK. Shoot me a message. There you go. And let's try it. We'll try it for the second one. What was that? That was the XRP. Is this the XRP? Nope, it's not. This one is. It was like when I tried it before I did the video, it worked just fine. There were no issues. But of course, when you do this stuff, it never goes as you expect. So now I want this one. "44 comments." Okay, great. I'm gonna have to block out Web Infinity. Where'd it go? Wow. There we go. That's a real one. This is why we need more comments, you guys, because it's like the bots are beating the humans in engagement, and that's not a good scenario. But my man Spliff Star, 1904. I heard it was a very good year. Tuning in from San Diego. That's definitely a real comment. So we go ahead and get you paid here. Where's Spliff at? There you go. There you go. So that's it. Yeah, that was frustrating, but it's like we have all these bots in these comments, so I'm trying to pick the best way. If you know of a better way, leave it on the video and I'll check it out. I'm trying to make this as engaging and as fair for everybody as possible. So let's jump into today's video. This is our chart, the only chart that matters, BTC to the USD on a 343. I've done this exact same chart 4 or 5 times now. This is the area that we're in. We have made consecutive lower highs and lower lows, confirming this downward wedge, that we've been in for the better part of 9 months now. These are the two areas we really care about. This first date is September 24th. That's coming up in 2 weeks. This next date is 11/15. Doesn't come up for a couple months. That's right around presidential election time. These 2 dates will determine what part of the chart we enter next. If Bitcoin is able to get above this point by this day, well, I think we have a very good chance of entering another bull market rally where we could see Bitcoin push 65, 62,000, right? If for some reason it falls to this price, that's about 54K. Notice it did fall to that exact same level. It basically mirrored that price. Truth be told, I think that's more of a bullish indicator, because I think if Bitcoin was going to sell off, then that would have got pushed lower to confirm the series that we were already in of consecutive lower lows. But I think this is kind of like a little hidden bull right here. So if we're able to jump up above 60,000 within the next week, I think that's a great scenario for BTC moving into this final trimester of this pattern. This is basically the end of the road. Like, as far as technical analysis go, not too many people know how to do this, but this is kind of the longest, possible scenario for this entire pattern to still hold coherency altogether. right? When you're doing these TAs, the biggest thing you want to do is make the chart tell you a story and then make it continue to tell the story, just adding a new page to it. Add a new chapter, add a new chapter, add a new chapter. That way it has continuity. And that's what we're able to do with this chart. And so that's why we have these price points in here with regards to when the different dates of inflection come. But the biggest thing is, as long as we are above, I would say, 54, this thing is going to want to continue to go up and to the right. Right now, it's literally at, kind of like this reset point to where it can go up, it can go down. We really don't know what's going to happen. But it's some interesting things happening in the geopolitical space, and that's what I wanted to touch on in this video. This is one of the interpretations of the current geopolitical environment, how the Fed rate cut could make Bitcoin more volatile, right? This is from David D, right? Keep in mind, full disclosure, he's building his own Bitcoin banking platform, so while he may speak, one way, his actions clearly are hedged another. This talks about the decline, and the volatility of the market. It also goes into what it means for Bitcoin. The anticipation surrounding the Federal Reserve's upcoming rate cut has heightened market uncertainty. Historically, rate cuts have been bullish for Bitcoin, as monetary easing typically weakens the U.S. dollar and boosts demands for assets. At the University of Notre Dame MBA courses, this is how it was described. When the Federal Reserve lowers the interest rate, money gets cheaper and money flows easier. It's just that simple. Like, either the money is more expensive than it was previously, or it's cheaper than it was previously, right? If it's cheaper, it becomes more accessible. Banks give out more of it, and it circulates more. Once that nozzle starts to tighten and it gets more expensive, banks constrict, risk reduces, and people lose jobs. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. But what they're saying here is kind of very contradicting, a double-edged sword indeed. They're saying that a 50 basis point could be a sign of serious economic trouble. Therefore, Bitcoin's price could be more volatile in a negative fashion. And they talk about all these different reports, but at the end of the day, we know the chicken is going to come home to roost at some point, and there will be a flippening. And when this great flippening happens, that's when all of the global assets go down and Bitcoin goes off the charts. Essentially, it will be a floodgate opening from textiles, from commodities, from precious metals, from real estate, from all of it will eventually go and be recirculated on the blockchain. It just hasn't happened yet. We only have one vehicle accessible to Wall Street for blockchain technology, and that's a Bitcoin ETF right now, right? Just imagine in 5 to 10 years how the scenario is going to be different, right? But I think even now we can start to, reassess the scenario, because it says as September progresses, Bitcoin investors are basing for a bumpy ride. Where is the next one? A 25 basis point may be priced in, limiting its short-term impact, but 50 points could signal deeper economic concerns, triggering a wave of volatility. Yes and no, because it's like the Federal Reserve has accounted for that risk. That's why they're making the cuts, so the market doesn't need to oversell what the Federal Reserve has already discounted for. However, there's still room for surprises if the Fed manages to strike the right balance, which they never do and never will. Turbulent period could be a stronger position. However, if recession fears continue to grow, Bitcoin's price could see further declines. I do not necessarily agree with that mantra, right? This entire channel, the premises of my entire community is based upon the fact that the dollar is dead, buy Bitcoin instead. Just because you can still accumulate one with the other does not mean they are intrinsically tied together and bear value to the same metrics. The stock market is independent of Bitcoin as far as I'm concerned. Now, granted, you got about probably 90% of the money flowing through the stock market has packed in on BTC, and they are intrinsically connected. However, at some point, we will see that point of inflection where Wall Street goes down and Bitcoin goes up. That just has not happened yet. So I think a 50 basis point cut would actually be great for Bitcoin, because then you have companies and financial lending companies that have cheaper money, and they can go buy Bitcoin at a better rate. That's what I'm looking at. They're playing the long game here. They're not worried about what's going to happen in the next 9 months. They're worried about what's going to happen in the next 90 years. And that's running through BTC, right? Here's another one I think that has relevancy. Bitcoin could hit 6 figures regardless of what puppet is selected to be your next president. Despite the increasing partisan sentiment in cryptocurrency, Bitcoin will thrive over the long term regardless of what puppet is selected in your presidential elections. This is a view many crypto investors are coming to accept as the wave of optimism spurred by former President DT pro-crypto overtures this summer starts to recede. Do I think we'll see 6 figures by 2025? Almost certainly. Bitcoin has always been an investment that is rooted in fiscal and monetary profile of countries, sovereigns, and the United States. And they talk about basically Bitcoin being bigger than the White House at this point. The election results will have minimal effect on how Bitcoin performs over the next 12 to 18 months. Bitcoin has been traded between 55 and 70K for most of 2024. Investors have widely expected the price to continue to lull until the U.S. voters decide the next president. Basically, the way it stands, I think if the blue puppet wins, they expect Bitcoin's price to go down. If the red puppet wins, King Bobblehead, they expect Bitcoin's prices to go up. But again, I think it's really based. It is that free cash flow with the interest rate, but a lot of it, is it's always going to go up and to the right. So it's just a matter of how soon do they allow it to. So this is a very, 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 I think, optimistic article. And it reminds you that, Bitcoin, as I said, blockchain is independent of Wall Street. If blockchain was limited to Wall Street, then we wouldn't even have the value that we have. It would just be XRP and nothing else. That's Bitcoin on Wall Street, essentially. The Swift network, keep the banks running, make them faster, make them more efficient, you know what I'm saying, and keep it moving. That's not how this thing works. I think we are watching the very beginning of a monumental rally. Now, if we do capsize here, but then everything has to capsize. That means Wall Street's going to go down 20, 30%. That means gold's probably going to go up 20, 40%. So you telling me that gold has value and Bitcoin doesn't? Like, who's making these assumptions? That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't make sense for them to say that the volatility of an economic uncertainty of a fiat currency is what isn't going to intrinsically pull down blockchain technology. I don't see that happening. If gold goes through the roof when Wall Street goes down and Bitcoin is tied to Wall Street, so it goes down too, then you call my bluff, say I was wrong. But I do not at all see that happen. And I see oil going through the roof in the next 3 years. I see BTC going through the roof in the next 3 years. I see real estate crashing in the next 3 years. And I see the Magnificent Seven probably having a 60% to 70% fall off, right? As far as most traditional governments are concerned, the technology, they're the big banks at this point. You know, social media runs the world, and Facebook is essentially one of the largest social constructs of financial power. So if Facebook started its own bank, you know, that would need to be propped up by the government at this point because it's too big to fail. So what we're going to see is when these technology companies begin to fail, they're going to consume each other, just like the banks did, you know, in 2008. So Facebook will buy TikTok, which will buy, you know, Kick, you know, which will buy Toncoin. Like it's all going to be connected. The fewer players they have in the game, the easier it is for the game to be controlled. And that's the same message that I've seen time and time again in this world. So luckily for us, you know what I'm saying, it don't really matter what they do. Because our number one goal, accumulate as much Bitcoin as fast and as often as possible. I just like to comment on what's happening to make it relevant, you know, to let you know that there is, you know, a lot of different factors happening behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, we already know that chart is going up and to the right forever. When you're measuring it in fiat currency, i.e. fake money, Bitcoin is real value, real equity, real technology, and it's the truth. It's a trustless, decentralized ledger, you know, that can't be compromised. And so that's what we have to look forward to. I just want to show you a few different variations on how people are taking it. It is an important and pivotal time. I think in the next 90 days, we will have a new part of this cycle that we can't account for. My guess is it's going to continue to go up and to the right. I think when we start to look around the market, we have coins that have started their consolidation, constriction to future expansion period. I've been talking about Ripple doing this. We've talked about Solana doing this. We've talked about Helium has gone up another 10-12% since I put it on the video. There are coins that are making money right now. So I think as long as a few of the top 10 coins can make money, that's enough to matriculate down throughout the ecosystem with time. So I think 2025 is going to be huge. That's probably going to be like 2017 was. And right now we're like in 2016. It's like, is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? Are we going to 50K? We're at 18,000 right now. We can't get through 20. You know, that's basically where we're at. We're just 3 times higher, but it's the exact same scenario. So that's what we have to look forward to, guys. I think it's a very, very interesting time. My apologies for the confusion earlier with trying to pick a winner. You know, we got all these bots in the comments, and but we did get a real winner on this video. I know that most definitely. So there you go. Thank you for watching. Make sure you leave a comment on this video if you want to win some free Bitcoin. We starting the timer again. I'm coming back next Friday every 7 days giving away some free BTC. So with that being said, it's that time of the day. Signing out. Boss. Boy BK, no matter where you stay, Brazil to Bay, California, all the way back out through Germany. Good night, good morning, and good day. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your time. Hit that thumbs up button for a player one time. Do that for me if you appreciate mine. Till we meet again, stay cryptic, y'all. Peace.
Like a boss.
Huh. Arms.